Hi, beautiful people. How are you? This is Bethany Gagne, founder of Numinous, the organization that sponsors the Global Peaceful Cities Project. And today, what I want to talk about is the word numinous and what the word numinous has to do with you and why I named my organization Numinous. So the word numinous was actually coined by a gentleman known as Rudolf Otto, and he defined it in 1917. And the way he defined it is a non-rational, non-sensory experience of feeling whose primary and immediate object is outside of the self. Now, today I want to talk about numinous experiences and how they can make a big difference in our lives and why I named my organization Numinous. You could think of Numinous as the quantum field. You could think of Numinous as the mind of God, that kind of thing. And so this word numinous actually was picked up by C.S. Lewis and also Carl Jung, and they made it really popular in their writings, and that's how the word became more to be known. Now, the idea of a numinous experience is that they usually, and you've probably, I want you to think about your life as I talk about this. Maybe you've had I'm sure many of you have had numinous experiences yourself. Like maybe you were climbing a mountain, you got to the top and you felt like you were connected to something bigger than you are. Maybe when you had a child, all of a sudden, you just had this moment where everything shifted a little bit and you just felt connected to something much bigger. Or maybe you were playing music, or especially in extreme sports, sometimes it can go with the flow state where you lose your sense of individual identity and you kind of merge with the field around you, okay? So numinous experiences are like that. They're something where our ego gets muted and we're connected to a larger field. And so the thing about these experiences is they really, that you can't speak about them. There's no words that define them. It's like a place inside of you. It's like you've reached this place. In fact, in consciousness research, they refer to it as a landmark. But this idea that you've kind of stepped into this space and it can be profoundly healing. In fact, one of the authors of Stealing Fire, not Jamie Wheal, the other one, he was very, very sick with Lyme disease. And for some wisdom of his friend, pulled him out onto a surfboard, and he got onto a surfboard and he just had this crazy connection to the field, or this very flow experience is what he would say. And it popped him out of the state of consciousness of being so miserable with Lyme disease, and then all of a sudden he goes into another state, and he literally says he healed himself from surfing, okay, from Lyme disease, okay. So this idea that there's these beautiful, gorgeous places. This is why I'm always talking about like gorgeousness is close by, all of that. I'm not just talking. I'm saying that there's this beauty that again, we aren't, we think we're these temporal beings, and our lifestyle now is narrowing our focus in. So we have fewer and fewer experiences with the numinous because everything's like constantly in our face and we never have time to actually expand out and have an experience like that. But the idea that, recently I saw a young woman. I had gone out hiking and we went into like a national forest kind of thing. And there was this huge waterfall at the end. And, these were two young women who had their phones with them and kind of thing. And she put her phone down and she just kind of kept touching the water. And she just kept moving the water. And she's like, I don't know why I'm so drawn to this water. But I almost had tears in my eyes because I could see she was having a numinous experience. She was touching something bigger than herself in that moment. So we have these experiences often. Well, I think we used to have them more often. Now with all the screens in our faces, we're eclipsing them, we're stopping them. But the idea that numinous moments, like the idea that she could go back to that moment and think about it, and her nervous system and her brain waves would switch around as if she's actually in the moment. So the thing about numinous moments is that they're profoundly healing. And they also have this way of lingering with us. So very often people will have a numinous moment and totally change direction in life. Or like physicists will have a numinous moment and then they'll choose to study physics. Like if you ever sometimes see some physicists and they're just talking about the field, and I see their eyes glass over and I see them change states of consciousness because as they're talking about something, this larger connection, they're actually connecting to it. Okay, so in consciousness research, there are actually this ideas of like at the Monroe Institute is like the world's premier place for consciousness research. They actually have like 27 locations in the etheric that you go visit basically. So I want you to think. So because this numinous is what has kept me going through all of like a peace project, right? Because who's ever done a peace project like this? I you know, and I kept trying to convey to people, like, this wasn't just your regular meditation where you like, you know, lower your shoulders or just, you know, whatever. I mean, I'm talking about when you meditate in such a way that you connect to the other side and your brain switch around and you touch these beauty, like beauty is all around us, okay? So the idea of Numinous, the Global Peaceful Cities Project, I'm wanting to do something new coming up. And that is that I'm wanting to do a new peace project. And before, I used to go with the evidence-based science and always like try to do our protocol so that it matches the evidence-based science, right? And that was really underwhelming as far as I'm concerned. And so now I'm just kind of throwing all that out, thank God, and just be able to start working with consciousness in a different way for a peace project where each of us will be connecting to the field, which basically means we're connecting to all that is, and then from that place bathe this planet in love and light for a year. Okay, so understand that these states, when you become a consciousness explorer, these states are like reliable, repeatable. You just start to navigate. Like, we know, you know, people have been meditation, you know, explorers. You know, we train in how fast we can get in altered states. I can't say that's our goal, but when I've been trained by EEG people, they basically say, wow, you can go into, you know, deep states very quickly. Well, that's years of training, right? So anyway, but the reason why we keep diving in and going on these explorations is because we find this beauty, we find this gorgeousness, and you too can do it as well. And so I know that there are certain things that are more powerful than others to help people touch the numinous. And so my hope is that, again, I'm creating, what I'd like to do is spend an entire year of us putting these great meditations out there. And we just start bathing this planet in light, and we're just going into oneness. No polarity, no good guys, no bad guys, no right, wrong, this, that, and the other thing. We're gonna all just kind of merge into oneness and just bathe this planet in light. And we'll meet in the etheric, and, you know, just trust me on this. If it sounds wild and wacky, totally understand. But those of us who know these spaces know exactly what I'm talking about. And I'm gonna ask if you're one of those people to please step up. Okay, so what I'm looking for is 35 people to work with, to train. Again, I train in like this idea of The Secret or intentional research, the law of attraction. This idea of using our intentions in the collective to help everyone, basically, because the field is connected to everyone. And so it's this idea that when you're working with the field, the rights of everyone gets considered, okay? And that's the way we're going to be rolling with it. The highest and best for all involved, right? So, all right, and let me just see if there's one other thing. Oh, so I'm going to put my email in the comments, and I put it separate so I don't want to stammer. So there's media@consciousnessathletes.com. Send it to that address. And if you are interested in training with me, and if you are, you get the first, my audiobook, Women, Food, Sex, and Power. You'll get that in audio. And then you'll also, once you submit a meditation, you will get my new book coming out, which is Become a Consciousness Athlete, a step-by-step program for heightening conscious for daily happiness. And again, that book is accompanied by these meditations that are actually sequential in such a way to help you work with the whole process of becoming a consciousness athlete, of training, of how to walk through this world, knowing you're connected to something larger, and how does that change your day? How does it change your choices, okay? And then I created a website, which I'm working on right now. It's getting all debugged right now. So if you've tried to get on, thank you so much. I appreciate that. You should be able to be getting on very soon. And the idea is when anybody who joins the website, they're going to enter at the Consciousness Explorer level. And the way I put the website together was I wanted it to be a community forum. I wanted people to share their numinous experiences. I wanted people to have a place where they can go in and talk about these spaces that many of us are touching, and yet nobody's acknowledging. Nobody, it's like, I have lived, personally, me, myself, I've lived in the spiritual closet for years, even though I was doing the Peace Project or whatever. Like, I didn't really talk about these numinous experiences. I just named the business, I just named the organization or Numinous, but I'm basically trying to walk around and just pretend and use all the science and use everything that's that's all acknowledged. And meanwhile, knowing that there's this larger nature that science has like barely scratched the edge of what's possible. right? So what I want to do is put together this website where we can support each other. Those of us who are having these numinous experiences, those of us who are training and conditioning our nervous system to feel the download of something larger than ourselves and using that juice to finance our lives instead of living on what I call the treadmill when we're not tapping into this infinite field of energy and potential. And then if we live on the treadmill, it will take us down. It will, and it is taking a ton of people down, because people are walking away from religion. They're more into spirituality, but nobody knows how to apply it. Nobody knows how to really make it work for them. And that's what the Consciousness Athlete curriculum does. So you'd get a copy of that book. You also have free access to the website. And in the website, I have more and more of these meditations where you're conditioning your body to be able to hold these states at will. So I'm going to ask if you're interested. I'm looking for 35 people to help work with me for a little bit and then submit a meditation. I'm going to give you the general idea of how to write the meditation. I'm going to give you some basic skills, especially if you're shamanic trained. That'd be super. If you're not, or maybe you're a healer, Reiki healer, and you just know that when you do one thing, your nervous system goes into a non-ordinary state, then those are the types of things that we want to put in service to mankind, essentially. So, all right, I think that's it. So when you join the site, you'll enter at the Consciousness Explorer level, and I made it so that people can talk to each other on these comments, right? So we can share our numinous experiences, so we can support each other. Understand that, the consciousness is so vast. It's so big. Like people kind of get jealous if other people talk about their consciousness experience. Like I don't, because I know it's so darn big that if someone has a different experience than me, then that's I'm happy to hear their story. It's so big. It's kind of like this old story of the blind men and the elephant, right? So there's 3 blind men and they're all holding an elephant, and the blind man that's holding the belly of the elephant says, an elephant is rough and big, and the elephant holding the tail says, an elephant is long and narrow, and then the other blind man that was holding the tusk, he basically says, an elephant is smooth and hard. So understand that that's the way consciousness is. We all have to share what we're experiencing in these non-ordinary states, but the one thing that comes through all of them is we know that we're being healed, we're being nourished, and there's sweetness and beauty and gorgeousness and awe. And we are living in a society, we are living so deprived of delight, of awe, of sweetness, of good-heartedness, of humor, of my hope, what I know is when people participate, they will get an infusion of that into their lives, and they will walk a little quicker, their shoulders will be back, their heads will be up high, because that's what happens in this work when you touch the numinous. So if you can, I believe that's all I need to say. If not, you just want to be a meditator, please. I'll put the website to sign that up at peacefulcities.org, and my new website is Consciousness Athletes. You could go there to try to sign up to be a Consciousness Explorer, and if you want to be one of these meditation leaders that will train with me for no charge for a little bit, at media@consciousnessathletes.com, and we're going to create this prayer wheel. We're going to start bathing this planet. We're going to step into the numinous, connect there, and just start blessing this world. Because that's the way. Another thing about the numinous is that, or these lighter states or whatever, we kind of have to foster the environment for that to get invoked, so to speak. It's almost like not an invocation. It's it's like Course in Miracles basically says we need to begin the miracle. We need to bring it down. And so by all of us doing it in a beautiful, skillful way, and we'll ask that everyone on the planet is nourished and sustained and supported, and people's hearts open. And finally, I knew there was one other thing, and that is that these meditations will also be created so that you, not only will you get to touch these numinous spaces, and you can start training your nervous system, but also every day there will be a space in the meditation where you will be sending intentions to your own life. Okay, so then you don't have to rely on me or anybody else. It's the idea that you will start becoming your own scientist and you can start applying this intentional stuff and how it rolls. And there's so much more to it. I can only say a little bit in each video, but because I want you to figure out what would it be like if you started walking around as a consciousness athlete. You start playing with the other side a little bit and having a little bit more fun and really understanding what's it like to be properly calibrated between this world and the next. And I've just got to stop because right there I could go off on another whole tangent. But all right, thank you all so much for listening. If you're one of those people, please share this with as many people as possible. I want to get this prayer wheel up and going. It's a ton of work, which is why I also need some technical support. If you are willing, you are called to this work, I definitely need some help with some technical support. So please send that around as well and share this with as many people as possible. And let's do this. Let's go into our oneness and support the whole. All right. Thank you very much. Take care. Bye-bye.